friends, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to our next video, and will also be our final video, in which we will be talking about simple interest, compound interest, and annuities. Well, I wanted to begin by giving us a background on what these things are. Well, to begin, simple interest is actually a method of calculating the interest charge on a loan, and it is used a lot less in comparison to compound interest. Not to mention, simple interest doesn't necessarily need to take place over the span of a year. It can also take place over the span of a couple of months, a couple of weeks, a couple of days. And the formula for simple interest is A equals P times R times T. A represents the final amount, P represents the principal, R represents the annual interest rate, which when you are given, you should be dividing by 100 to get a decimal point, and T representing time. On the other hand, compound interest is the situation in which you earn interest on both the money you've saved and on the interest earned. It's also used a lot more in comparison to simple interest. The future value as well as the present value can be calculated, and it also includes compounding periods. Some of the compounding periods would include annually, which is once a year, semi-annually, which is twice a year, quarterly, which is 4 times a year, bi-monthly, which is actually every other month, monthly, which is 12 times a year, semi-monthly, which is twice a month, bi-weekly, which is every 2 weeks, weekly, which is once a week, and daily, which is once a day. The formula for calculating compound interest is really simple. It is FV equals PV in brackets 1 plus R raised to the power of N. FV represents the future value, PV represents the present value, and I represents the interest rate divided by your compounding period, while N represents the time multiplied by the compounding period. Next, we have annuities, which is simply a series of equal payments. Similar to compound interest, the future value or present value of an annuity can be calculated based on the information provided within the question. So here I have included the formula to calculate the present value of an annuity, and the formula is PV equals PMT in parentheses 1 minus 1 plus I in brackets raised to the power of negative N, all divided by your interest rate. PV representing the present value, PMT representing the value of each payment or your initial value, I representing the interest rate per period, and N representing the number of periods. So let me show this in a question. The Supergirl series, question 4. As everyone at the DEO was in a hectic craze preparing for the big battle, they forget about the budgeting and marketing of the company. Luckily, Brainy is taking care of it. The financial reports of the company are jumbled up and very unorganized. In spite of organizing things and being able to set a plan for the future, Brainy is wondering how much money he will have to invest right now so that he can generate a cash flow of $110,000 each year for the next 14 years, within the annual interest rate of 8% compounded annually. Can you help Brainy figure out how much dollars he should invest now? Also, how much interest will have been added after the 14 years. So I would like to begin by talking about what I already know, and I already know the formula to calculate the present value, and what I want to figure out is how much Brainy should be investing right now. So before you read the question and plug in all your values straight into the formula, you actually want to do some calculations at the side. So the value for our cash flow we know is $110,000, but for I, we want to do our interest rate divided by 100 to get that in a decimal value. In this case, 8% would be 0.08, and we want to divide that by the number of compounding periods. In this case, we're only compounding annually, which is once a year. So 0.08 divided by 1 would give us the value of 0.08. For our value of negative N, we want to do how many years our time period multiplied by the number of compounding periods, which is 14 years times 1. And because we want a negative N, we would simply add the negative sign in front of the 14. And we are trying to solve for the present value. So now that we know all these values right here, we will simply plug them in to our equation and solve. So we of course want to begin by solving the exponents first, and then the parentheses, and then we follow order of operations and do multiplication and division. So after solving, we come to the conclusion that Brainy should invest $906,866.07 into the account right now. But how much of that will be interest? Well, to calculate how much of that will be interest, we start by multiplying the cash flow that we want by the time period, and we come to the conclusion that $1,540,000 is how much cash there will be altogether, and we want to subtract that by how much Brainy should be investing right now. And we get that $633,133.93 will be the interest. So simply, if Brainy invests this amount of money, he will be generating a cash flow of $110,000 each year for the next 14 years and he will be receiving interest of $633,133.93. So simply, let's go back and what did we do? So we went through the background of what simple interest, compound interest, and annuities are. We were given their formulas and what the value of each variable is. And to solve for any question, you simply want to write down what you know from the word problem and what you don't know. You want to calculate everything. And then all you simply have to do is plug all the information into the formula, and that's how much you should be investing for present value. And to solve for interest, you basically multiply your cash flow by the time period, you get your answer, and subtract that by how much you should be investing to get the interest rate. Thank you so much for watching.